What's up everybody, Moses Joshua right here. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys my new Logic Pro all stock plugins mixing template. In this template you're going to be able to use pretty much what comes with your Logic Pro. Either you're still in Logic Pro X or you're in Logic Pro 11, you'll be able to use this template in a way where it's so efficient for your CPU. You don't have to spend any money on subscription, and you can still get great and decent mixes for your production, for your content creation, and most especially this is geared towards people who want to have great live stream mixes and they don't have budget for an expensive computer, and they don't have budget for all of these third-party expensive plugins, and they still want to get a great sound. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys the layout of the template, what it sounds like, the kind of quality you're going to be getting. Let's dive straight into the video. I'm not here to waste your time, so let's go straight into it. All right, so right here is Logic Pro, and this is an example of this is pretty much the template that I started off of. I'm gonna start from pretty much the layout. The layout is really simple and it's easy to use. So we have the drums coming first. I like to kind of start with the drums and percussions and everything. But before we even do that, let's just even hear what this sounds like. What does it sound like? Let's go.
Father, we thank you.
The Bible says that whom the Son has set free is free.
Again, this is all Logic Pro stock plugins. I have only one plugin, only one third-party plugin at the end, at the mix bus, and I'm going to be showing you guys. It's actually right here, Ozone Imager, and what this is only doing is giving us some width, some widening, just so this feels a little bit more modern. The modern mixes nowadays, we have this stereo width effect on it. This is a free plugin. You can get it directly from Ozone. Just go on Google and just put Ozone Imager, Ozone Imager 2 free plugin. Just type it in Google. It's going to take you to the website. Put your email, sign up, you download it. I'll put a link below in the description of this video. Download it, put it on your mixes, and you're good to go.
It's free. My heart. Come on. Put your hands. 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 I got a testimony. And he told me that I was not alone. This is your part. Everybody, he picked up.
Now let's compare these mixes, this quality of the mix and the sonic quality, to another live stream mix from a major multi-million-dollar church. I'm not going to show you the screen, but I'm just going to play it, all right? So for a mix that is pretty much coming from stock plugin, this is all just minimalistic mix approach as much as possible, very efficient on your CPU. I'm gonna show you my CPU right here.
Testify. Come on, can we sing it one more time? He picked me up.
This is with all of my calls working, and if I go to my audio settings right here, and I'm even using let's use 4 cores. Let's use 4 cores right here. This is what comes with my 2015 MacBook Pro. I literally tested this same mix template on my 2015 MacBook Pro, and it works flawlessly. That's how efficient this is.
Turn me around. Oh my God. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad.
Look at that, like the cores are barely getting to 50% right here. So let's go to 2 cores. What about that? This is probably the worst you can get. If you have a computer and all you have is 2 cores, can it work? Let's go.
You saved the wretch like me. Come on, somebody testify. He lifted you up, set your feet on solid ground.
About 60% if you have just 2 cores, and if you have like a computer like mine, most computers nowadays, at least you should have 4 cores. At least you should have 4. If you have 4 running at 128 buffer size, I mean, this is good in my opinion. All right, so now that I've shown you how efficient this is, let's talk about the layout. We've heard what this sounds like. We're going to talk about the layout and the decision-making process that comes into all of the plugins that we're using. I'm going to try and run through it. There's no point trying to kind of like go through everything in details. This is not a mixing masterclass per se, but you might be able to, you know, learn 1 or 2 things here as well, right? So let's go here. We start with the drum boss. In the drum boss, I put a note inside of this. If you come up here, right here, you see notepads right here, and there's a note under the track section. Each of the track, there's a note in here that can help you with gain staging if you're learning how to gain stage, and I'll kind of show you a little bit more about that later on. So all of the drums are coming through here, as the note says. We have HiHat. If you close the envelope, the folder right here, all of the drums coming into the drums boss kind of collapses, right? So if we open it up, we see the HiHat, we see the kick boss, and inside of the kick boss we have, you know, the kick, the snare, toms, you know, overheads, and that's pretty much it. And we have a drums parallel compression, okay? Drums PC, drums parallel compression. So if we look at the HiHats right here, let me just close this. This is just HiHats right here, and you know, it's simple HiHat. Simple HiHat. We brought it down quite a bit because overhead is already picking up a lot usually. Okay, so nothing crazy is going on. An EQ on that, a compressor, you know, right there on that. You know, nothing crazy going on this HiHat section. If you can see, just minimal compression, you know. And then we have the kick right here, both the kick in and the kick out, right? So with the kick out alone, kick in alone, if I turn on all the processing we're doing right here, turn it off, this is what the kick sounds like. Then with the EQ on, just the EQ alone, the second EQ, and then we have some slight compression right here, and then we have a kick parallel compression. I kind of call it kick smash, and it's just smashing the kick heavily. So right here you can see some kick smash going on here. So this is both kick in, kick out right now, and then the kick smash right here, only the kick mash. You can see it's kind of smashing it, and then we're blending it with the other kick in and kick out, right? So with kick out right here, again, similar thing, EQ, compression, sending it to the kick smash, and all of them, kick in, kick out, kick smash, they are all coming into the kick boss right here with slightly EQing with the tube EQ right here and some compression again, and everything is going into the drums. They are all going into the drums boss, but we are also sending this entire kick boss into what we call the drums parallel compression, okay, parallel compressor, if you want to call it that way, drums PC. What this drums PC is doing is, drums PC is pretty much just the entire drums being paralleled all together. The entire drums being compressed all together. I want to say entire drums compressed all together and then blended with all of the drums itself. Right, so you can see we're smashing the drums and then we blended it in with the actual drums itself. So if you want to hear the entire drums now, so we have all the overheads. Again, this is not mixing masterclass. We don't have to kind of like dive into all of the moves right here. You can hear the toms right here. Let's solo this area. So we have some noise gates already on some of the toms because this is all live drums, right? And we can do some toms cleaning live. So if you're using this for like live stream, you really can be cleaning toms. The best bet is just to have a gate that is able to kind of open and close decently, you know. So you're still gonna have cymbal bleeds, but they are not overwhelming. If your mics are placed properly, right? If you have your mics placed properly.
Come on, give him a glorious praise in this place. Hey, put your hands.
So that is drums, and we have the percussion box right here. This is if you have congas, you have shakers, you have tambourines live on stage, and all of those things. If you have just a stereo mic on top of them, this is, you can put them here, left and right. Oh, by the way, I want to show you guys the snare section. Again, the snare is also simple: snare thumb, snare bottom. One thing I want to, and then we have the snare smash, also similar to the kick drum section. And then this entire snare box is being sent to a bunch of reverbs and the drums parallel compressor. On the kick section right here, depending on where you are, depending on how you place your mic, we do have, I do recommend that you always do what we call polarity check. You know, check your phase, make sure the drums are in phase. So if we solo the kick right here, I'm gonna mute the kick smash and I'm gonna turn off all of the processing happening on this kick section, right, on this kick right here, and then we just hear the kick drum by itself, both of them together. Not bad, right? Really. Now, if these drums are not in phase, this is what they will sound like. Well, these drums are actually in phase, so we didn't need to do anything. There's another example I'm going to show you in this video where the drums, the kick in and the kick out, are not in phase, and you had to phase invert. You have to click on either on the kick in or on the kick out. You know, select one of them, flip the phase, and see what it sounds like. On this one, it's kind of not so glaring, but I almost feel like when I flip the phase, I could hear the entire kick drum actually feel thicker a little bit, just a little bit. But in this case, it's not as obvious. So in that other example, you know, we'll check and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So always check your drums, check that they're in phase, check the kick especially, check the snare as well, both the snare top and the snare bottom. Once you feel like there's a little bit of drop in the thickness of the sound, when you flip one of the faces, then you know that something is wrong here, and you want to make sure you're using the one that gives you the beefier sounds. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so and then we have the snare like I've shown you already. Let's turn back all our processing. Now we heard what this sounds like without processing. And then with the processing now, it just cleans up all of the muddiness going on inside of that kick drum. Okay, so we got the snares right here. I don't think there's any snare signal right here, so we got something here. And let's talk about the we talked about the percussions right here, right? Again, nothing crazy going on, just shakers and stuff. Now we have stems and loops. If you have stems, loops and things like that, right, we drag them here. This is actually from my loop pack, Moses Joshua production loop pack. So this loop is from my loop pack at church actually, and we're using it at church right here. So there's a little bit of rolling off the top end of this, and the reason is because this entire loop pack is going out of the mix bus, and on the mix bus we are already boosting a bunch of eyes, you know, on the mix bus. You can see 10K right here. I'm already cranking it up. And the graphic EQ right here as well, I'm adding a little bit. On the channel EQ right here, I'm adding a little bit on the mids and on the sides as well. So eventually this is becoming a little too bright by itself, and the shakers inside of this and the tambourines or anything on the high frequency side is beginning to poke out. So we had to just roll it off a little bit, and then we're compensating for that on the master bus. The other way you could do this is just send this alone into the master channel where all these processes are not happening, but we want to make sure that all of our mixes are kind of glued together. So it's kind of like a, you know, trade-off in a way, but you're really still not losing anything. You roll it off here, you had it up there on the mix bus section later on, if that makes sense. All right, so we have the bass. Here there are situations where you have key bass, and there are situations where you have key bass and then the bass guitar. So this is just bass guitar right here. And again, not a lot going on here. We have cleaning up some of the low mains, bringing up some of the top end where, you know, the finger, you can hear the fingers, and you can hear, you know, the brightness of the bass a little bit, the fundamental frequency of the bass right here. And then we roll off a little bit up onto like almost 40 Hz right here, just to roll off all of the rumbles. Then we're using the LA2A style compressor inside of the Logic stock plugin right here. It's actually just kind of kissing it right here, you know, depending on the section of the song, because as you can see, the playing is so dynamic. If I go to this section, so you can see that it's beginning to grab it a little bit more in this section where it's maybe playing more aggressively. Right, so it kind of depends on the section. If he's playing softer, you probably won't see anything moving. But then we have we actually have a parallel compressor for that, bass parallel compressor, and right here you can see a little bit more compression. It's going to be happening here. So we're using that FET style compressor, that 1176 compressor right here, and then we are also distorting it a little bit with this right here. If we listen to just only the bass PC, it's kind of just dirtying it up a little bit, and we are compressing massively. As we're compressing, we're also making up for the gain as well. So you just push this forward, and everything, both the bass guitar and the bass parallel compressor, they're coming out of this bass bus with this 2BQ and this fat effects. All right, this fat effects, we just adding some distortion, some widening actually, which is weird, and some bass enhancer, a little bit more compression as well, and that's it for the bass right here. You can feel the bass feels a bit more thickened once I bring out these fat effects. I feel like this is one of the most underrated effect in Logic. Logic Pro users, please use these things, man. Use them. They are there for you to use. So let's go to the guitars. I have 3 guitar players right here. This one is a little bit tricky because this would depend on what your guitar players are playing and what they're doing, the tone they're using, and things like that. So I implore you to kind of play around with these until you feel much more comfortable, right? So we have guitars, just again EQ compressor, and then EQing them just based off of what they're doing. This is like an acoustic guitar. It's also playing some rhythm lines here and there. All right, and then we have electric guitar right here. And then we have another one here. This one is kind of like a distorted. As you can see, the waveform is so distorted. I have no idea how you want to distort it like that, but you know, guitar players do that a lot. So the guy here, the lead electric guitar player, is the one that is kind of like a little bit up there, and the other ones are kind of just supporting on the sides, right? So play around with what you got, play around with what you have in your team. If you have just one guitar player, just use one channel. You don't have to use all the 3. Okay, so and then we have main keys. This is pianos mainly, right? And the label here, main keys or piano. Okay, so and then we have keys 2, which is like pads and stuff, strings, pads, stuff like that. Keys 3 the same way, keys 4 the same way, keys 5 the same way. They are all doing different things, and again, kind of like labeling. We kind of label some of them as well, you know. So this patch is actually from my Roland. This is from my Roland patches actually. So if you're wondering where that is coming from, this is from the Roland Phantom. Yeah, shout out to Tumishi on that one. That's Tumishi right there. And then we have some other things as well. Then we have the organ as well. If you have an organ player right here, you know, so it's just padding and stuff like that. And then we're sending it to some reverbs, spring reverb, chapel, and the space reverb right there. If you have a sax player, we have a sax channel right here that you can kind of like check out. Then let's talk about the BGVs very quickly. The BGVs right here, so right here we kind of group them. Hopefully, I'm hoping that you have microphones labeled in your team. If you have microphones, your microphones labeled, that is gonna help you a lot to be able to balance your vocals, right? Like altos, sopranos, the tenors. You want to be able to balance them. So we have altos, we have sopranos, we have tenors, right? So right here, all the sopranos are grouped into the soprano channel right here. Altos are grouped right here, tenors are grouped right here, and you can kind of like collapse all of these and work with just this 3 section, the volume of this 3 section, and kind of just move them up and down and blend them together depending on, you know, how they're sounding and how loud they're sounding. And one of the things we've done here is that the panning here is not so wide out, because one of the things I've realized, especially for people who look like me and who come from where I've come from, in terms of our tone and the way we sing, it's a little bit different. If you pan it all the way to the left and all the way to the right, it's very obvious for people to hear mistakes and hear notes not the, some notes that are not as sharp, some notes that are kind of like, a little too sharp or a little too flat. It's easy to hear mistakes. It's easy to hear someone just poking out of the mix a little bit too much. So the panning is not all the way. If you have professional studio BGVs, then you can do a little more panning to make that BGVs feel so wide. For in the purpose of like live stream, I don't like putting the BGVs all the way too wide, because it exposes a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes and things like that. So that's just me. If you have another set of singers with good blend, good tones, and they are massive, if you have only 3 singers as well, I would not advise you pan your soprano, your alto too wide. Just leave them somewhere around the 10 o'clock, the 2 o'clock, and then the 12 o'clock. Usually the tenor singers make them feel close to the middle. That's the way I will kind of pan them, especially in a live setting. If I have only 3 singers, if I have multiple singers, then we can go a little bit more, like in this case, as you can see on the screen right here. All right, so we have all of the tenor singers going into the tenor boss right here. And in the tenor boss, we kind of just EQ a little bit and then compress them all together, okay? Again, no tuning going on here, so you can kind of hear a little bit of, pitch not as you would probably want them in a professional setting. And then you can hear the alto singers right here. Again, same thing. Channel EQ and compressing them as well. Same thing for soprano. We do the same thing for them. I'm actually cutting out a little bit more on the soprano singers here, because when they get so bright, it can begin to sound so brittle, and you want to cut out that brittleness a little bit. Right, so and then each of these, we're sending them to what I call the parallel, the BGV parallel compressor, right? So we're sending bus to bus 31. Bus 31 is this guy right here, parallel compressor, right here for. And it's kind of just smashing all of them together so that we can bring them and blend them in with all of these other singers right here. Just a little bit more energy. In some cases, you might not even really hear what this BGV parallel compressor is really doing, but you kind of need, you need to just have them to give them a little more energy and push in the mix a little bit more. And then you have the entire BGV coming in here. We have a little bit more channel EQing again, because we've EQ'd all these channels individually and a lot. We're kind of just cutting out some brightness along the mid-range here that can begin to clash with the main lead vocal frequency right there. And we have some DSs. We actually DSing in 2 stages at the end as well, compressing them a little bit together even more. But as you can see, in this case, we're not compressing that hard right now. So just tiny compression going on there, cutting out some brightness again, and adding some top end to feel bright on the top end section, right? Some mid-range here that can begin to feel ash. We're cutting that one out. Again, multiple stage compression. This is an LA2A compressor right here, LA2A modeled compressor right here. Gentle compression at this stage right now. And then we have multipressor. Multipressor is just compressing the frequency range. This is multi-band compressor. So Logic has one. A lot of people actually don't use it that much. It's there for you. As you can see, as some frequencies are poking out, it's grabbing them and kind of controlling them. So and then we have the 2BQ right here, just doing a little bit more surgical work here, because again, you have a lot of people singing, things start to get crazy very quickly. And then last stage of the S'ing, because we don't want those S's poking out, right? Jesus. So you can hear that it's not too, if I take out both the S's, you can begin to hear. Not so bad, but you know, if you have some places where the S is just annoying, this is there to kind of help suppress all of those situations right there. Let's go on to the lead vocal. The lead vocal is very similar to the BGV as well, because we want them to sound consistent. We want them to sound like they are together in the same place. So we are not using a processing that is far off from each other. Actually, we actually started from the lead when we crafted the sound of the lead, and then we kind of, you know, copied that same tone and, you know, that order into the BGVs as well, if that makes sense, because we want them to be able to sound as if they are together in the same space, because that's the beauty of music. We don't want BGVs, especially in a live scenario. We don't like BGVs coming from, you know, from UK and the lead is coming from inside water in Australia. So we want them to sound consistent. We want them to sound the same. So we have the lead right here, channel compressor, again similar to what we did on the BGVs, and again this is very similar. The only thing addition here is an extra distortion, just a little bit more distortion, the clean preamp kind of distortion though, not the one that is aggressive.
Be lifted. Be lifted. Be lifted high.
It just gives it a little bit more pop and a little bit more energy. That's all it's doing. Let's talk about the effect that we're using on the lead. We're using similar effect on the BGVs as well, but let's talk about the leads right here. The first one right here is the lead vocal plate reverb. This one is actually only for the lead vocals, and the reason I did that is because there might be some cases where you want the lead vocals to just be, you know, to just have a little bit more reverb and, you know, just be able to control the lead vocal reverb alone without bringing up the reverb for the other sections and things like that, just surgically for the lead vocal right there. So and then we have that, it's just coming from this, you know, this big plate sample right here. So we have that here, and in the VCA, which I'm going to explain, the VCA, there is a VCA specifically for that verb right here. So you're hearing that verb right now. It's gone. So there are cases where you want to quickly bring up the lead vocal reverbs, and if you have all your VCAs together right here, you can come to lead vocal reverb, bring it up. That's why I wanted specifically the reverb for the lead vocal, so that anytime I need it, I can bring it up without bringing up the reverb for, you know, if I'm sharing that reverb with all other instruments as well. So if that makes sense. So we have that lead vocal reverb right there. Really a good way to add if you're singing CCM songs and things like that. Quickly control your verb. You can control it from here, but if you're a kind of VCA guy and you kind of just want to control all your stuffs from one single 8-channel fader, like SSL UF8 fader port thing, you know, you could do that from right there. But let's talk about Again, we have lead vocal compressor, similar to what we did on the BGVs. You guys already know that. Then we have the speech bus right here. Actually, I'm not done with the effect on the lead bus. Let's continue with this. We have the lead vocal slap. What it's doing is just adding some slap to the lead vocals. You can hear that. And then we have some EQing at the end of it. So we have that. Let's talk about this next one. Is a space verb. This is one of the reverbs that we have. There are other things sent into it as well, like drums. So you see, if I'm using a reverb that has all other things coming in there, if I'm bringing it up, it's going to bring up everything, and we don't want that. Then we have plate verb. We have an ambient verb. This is like a very tight room verb that kind of just had a little more widening to the entire mix if you are sending a bunch of things to it. I like it. It's not too aggressive. It's not too big. And then we have the lead vocal widener right here. Again, it's not doing a little too much, but it's just adding a little more widening to that lead vocal right there. The slap is actually even adding a little bit more to it, right? Right, and then when you add this to it, so you can see that. Right, and then at the end of the day, if you hear the entire lead vocal itself and all the reverbs together, the reverbs are not, the lead vocal is not swimming in reverb, as you can see, right? These are just minor additions, right? Minor addition. This lead vocal is already -8, right? And all of these scents are like post fader. This is post pan scents, right? So these are not a lot of scents that we're kind of hiding. You really don't want to be having your lead vocals or your effects swim, your instrument and your vocals swimming in too much effect, because they become too distracting. We want something that is just solid and just sounding good. That's what you want. Something, we don't want to show off our effect. We want to show off the band and how good they're sounding together, right? So that's that. We have the speech bus. Speech bus here is if you have the preacher's mic, if you have someone speaking right here
into this service in the name of Jesus,
right? You know, things like that. Someone reading scripture, someone giving testimony, all those kind of stuff that goes on. So this is that right here. And again, similar approach in terms of the effect that we are using to the lead vocals as well, because again, we want them to sound cohesive, as if we're all coming from the same spot. This right here is the audience microphone, and this is one of the most important things when it comes to live music, live recording and live streaming. You need to have an audience microphone right here. So like in this section, he was actually trying to talk to the audience to sing something along right here. Oh, I had this turned on.
I thank the Master, my heart. I thank the Master. I'm on solid ground. I thank the Master. Go. He picked me, turned me around.
Now you can hear the audience. Imagine if this mic is not there, right? As you can hear the audience right now.
Place my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master. I thank the Savior. He healed my heart.
So even in this particular case, one of the things I might do is bring this up a little bit to like 0 just for this section, right?
I thank the Savior. He healed my heart. Come on.
If this is not there, this is what you're gonna hear.
He healed my heart. Come on. changed my name. How many of you are
We really can hear them. We can hear the audience. But now, with this,
glad has he changed your name?
and it also has a little bit of reverb and kind of like widening even to the entire mix and the lead vocal. It makes it feel more open, not kind of closed, if that makes sense. So let's bring this back to like 4.3 or so. Yeah, and this is simple audience bus. Just clean them up a little bit because they have a lot of low end in there, the sub in the house, the speaker up top. Compressing them slightly as well, especially when the music is going on. And sometimes people get excited, they come around the microphones where you have those audience mics and they start clapping, yelling. You need some compressor to kind of quickly kind of grab things, control things a little bit. And then the channel EQ is just to remove a lot of rumbling here, right? You can hear the bass and the guitars, and you just want to clean that up a little bit. We don't want to take it out completely. We want that warmth and that low mid energy there, but we don't want to take it out completely. But we want to kind of clean it up a little bit, and the brightness as well, kind of like tame it down a little bit in a way. In some cases, you can leave it up if you want to, but I just kind of cut it out a little bit, right? Remember, we are still going to be boosting everything on the mix bus side of things. We do have a playback bus. What is this? This is if you have announcement and if you have things like, you know, they are playing back announcement from like your media team, they are playing something on the screen and all of those, and we have them here all stereo. Hopefully they are giving you a stereo signal, and if it is a mono, just make sure you pan this back into this, right? Just put it at the middle if it is a mono signal you're getting. If it is stereo, you want to kind of open it up like this. Another thing here, again, audience mic. If you're going to use audience mic, please make sure you're using stereo, don't use mono. Make sure you're using at least 2 if you don't have 4, if you don't have 6. Okay, it's very important. And we also have all of the reverbs here. They are all grouped into this reverb right here, and then there are other effects here like the guitar delays, BGV delays, this lead vocal wideness, BGV wideness, all those things here, right? So they kind of sounds like this. This is all just reverbs, right? All just reverbs and effect section that is making up the beauty of what we are hearing here. So we can actually mute all reverbs and mute all effects if we want to at any point in time.
hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey, so be lifted high, be lifted, be lifted.
So this is without any effect, right? And then with the effect in, as you can see, you don't really hear, except for when I stopped it and you hear the tail of the reverbs. But with the reverbs in, you don't hear a massive change in echo and versus when there was no reverb, right? Just very subtle, very subtle move, guys, very subtle. Let's talk about the VCA now. The VCA here is, the idea of the VCA here is you can be on this section right here and just open your mixer and just stay here and mix from here. You know, with the VCA, I can start with I can literally take my VCA and say, okay, what's going on here? I want to have, the band is too loud. I bring the band down, right? So this is band VCA. The lead vocal is too loud. It's not enough. I need a little bit more. I can bring it up, bring it down. The lead vocal reverb, the lead vocal delay, right? So the lead vocal delay here is this, the one I call the lead vocal slap. The idea of a lead vocal slap here is because unless you know the tempo that you want to work with at any point in time, if you know the tempo, then you can always calculate your delay. But if you don't want to do that kind of work, just leave it as a slap. It's not too It's not too much. The feedback, it's also not too much as well, right? The feedback is just 11% here and there, right? You just want a delay. You don't want to have the delay for a praise section, fast tempo songs, and a delay for slow tempo songs. If you set a tempo right now and it doesn't match what the band is playing, and the tempo which the band is playing, you're kind of just going to be a little bit, it's going to be off-putting in a way, because it's not syncing, and it's just a mess. So you just want a little bit of dancing around, turning around, but not too much of, you know, delay happening, so that it's kind of disturbing. And then we have the BGV VCA right here, so you can like stay in this old location and kind of manage things, you know. I can be here.
Somebody lift him up. Lift him up.
Audience, I just muted audience, right? Let's say we want to quickly do just, you know, audience and things like that, right? So I think
I will draw. It's all a Hey. Come on.
so we have all of that, and the playback VCA as well if they are playing back something. So speech VCA, depending on, you know, if we're speaking. So you can quickly control volume from this little section without going and scrolling, swiping up and down. That's what I like about the VCAs. And then we have the mix box, right? Again, we have the channel EQ right here. Fun fact, I'm using like the mid-side EQing right here, so please be mindful. I just want a little bit of widening in a way as well. This is kind of like a trick that a lot of mixing engineers use, where they use mid-side EQing to just affect the side information differently from the mid information. So on the mid side, I'm kind of just doing a little bit of cleaning up, you know, things like that. And on the side, I'm taking out some of the low frequencies on the side that I really don't need, then brightening up the side a little bit more and things like that, cleaning up the low mid area as well, and things like that. So there's a mid, there's a side. So every time you open this channel EQ, check it out and see what am I actually affecting. There's a mid, there's a side. People actually don't know that the Logic stock plugin, you can do that. On the graphic EQ right here, you know, just cleaning up the mid-range, the low mids area, because I promise you, things build up here fast, especially when you have a lot of singers, a lot of musicians, a lot of keyboards, a lot of guitars, 3 guitars in this information, in this situation, like 6 keyboards. Things build up in this low mid area, right? Almost every instrument as fundamental, as some frequency in the low mid area, not the fundamental frequency of all instruments for sure, but when a lot of instrument lies in this area, and when they start piling up, it goes crazy, right? So we're just taking that out a little bit. We have some tube EQ in here, adding some low end, and kind of at the same time, this is the pool tech style. You're boosting and then you're cutting around the same place. Again, on the high frequency as well, we're boosting the 10K, cutting on the 20, just because, again, we don't want it to be brittle, but we want it to be bright. And then we're kind of dipping around the 200. Again, that low mid area, we're dipping a little bit, and that's it. Then we're kind of compensating with a master volume here. We have this chroma glow right here. It's more like a distortion plugin, but it's also you're just kind of inflating the entire mix, and you kind of just like it's just giving the entire mix energy a little bit. As you can see, I'm using 10% drive and maximum of 10% on the entire mix itself, so not a lot. This one right here is really necessary, the Ozone Imager. So without it, this is what it sounds like.
Sing it one more time, one more
And with it, so I like to stay around this 30%, 40% if I'm pushing it. Anything above this is big, things begin to go crazy. Yeah, the widening is just important. It's just it just makes this better. That's all I'm saying. It just makes it feel better, especially on your headphones. And all of this is going to the master channel, which we have this adaptive limiter. I'm using two-stage limiter. Master, so we just use limiter. Adaptive limiter is really, in cases of live stream, not really a thing. I just still want to have it there. But so we have this adaptive limiter and we have the actual limiter right there. So they are all doing a little bit of gain reduction and just maximum, kind of just bringing the volume up to a competitive level. Like in this case, I'm not even getting any gain reduction right here, and here I'm getting something. So this is loud enough for me for a live stream mix. This is too loud. This is very loud. You can see right here we're getting about 10.6 LUFS, integrated LUFS. That is loud. Like Spotify will probably ask you for -14. That's 3 dB less. So this is loud enough for a live stream mix. YouTube is also going to turn it down a little bit, so you don't want to start clipping online, right? And also for those who are not very familiar with, you know, the way Logic works, make sure that your master bus is at, you know, the mix bus, the master bus. Try as much as possible to leave them right here on on 0. Don't go beyond 0. If you go beyond 0, you're actually distorting at that point. You start seeing red up here. The master VCA as well, leave it at 0, right? You don't really need to keep going crazy on that one. So just leave it at 0, send it out to your team. Okay, and then what else do I want to talk about here? This is the layout of this. It's simple. You can collapse things down if you want to, and you can open things up depending on what you want. Okay, now let's talk about if you are trying to set this up for your own self. How do I set this up? It's very simple. Okay, so when you get an empty template, you're going to get an empty template. So let's open like an empty, let's just open like an empty template. I'm just going to find the empty template to open. So this is how the empty template will just come up for you when you purchase this. You have the empty template right here, and let's use some what's it called, some audio files to set this up. So what I'm gonna do is now grab and drop files into, if I already have my files that I want to use for the mixes. So there are two scenarios. If I have my files, I'm going to grab them. Let me change this right now to the full screen so that y'all can see like a full screen section. Give me 1 second. So right now you guys can see my folder right here. So let's say I want to drag and drop some files. I'm just going to open my folder like this, right? Let's see. So I have all my files. Here. One of the things I can do is I'm going to set this to snap. I'll just put it at bar and I will expand here. I will expand, you know, I'm zooming in. I'm going to zoom in this horizontal slider right here. Zoom it all the way. Put my snap on bar so that when I drag and drop anything here, it's gonna, so first one here is HiHat. So I'm gonna just take the HiHat, I'm gonna drag it, I'm gonna drop it on the HiHat channel. Boom. Right, I don't want to import tempo information. Don't ask again, don't import. Okay, HiHat, I just import HiHat. All right, I'm not using, there's a reason I'm not using the other import way that Logic has. So if I open up Logic here, and there's a way you can actually import, right? If you see right here, you can import files right here. You go here. I don't want to do that because when I do that, the moment I do that and I drag and drop files into this place, it actually messes with my volume levels right here. So let's try that. So this volume right now is -10. So let me take that out, and if I go to the same folder that I was working in, so mixed, so I have HiHat. Let me turn this off. So if I drag and drop from here, in some cases, from what I remember, right there, you see, it just changes my level to 0 from right there, and I don't want that. So I'm just gonna Command Z, probably put this back to what, -10 or so, can't remember anymore. So to avoid that scenario where, you know, it's changing my volume, I'll drag and drop from the folder, put them here, right? Bass guitar, come to my bass, you know, drop electric guitar 1, I'll drop it on electric guitar, you know. We have a acoustic, right? So acoustic, HiHat, we just did keys 2, okay, keys 2 right here, do keys 2 left, keys 2 right. I'm just dragging and dropping right now. I've not even done anything. So kick in, putting kick in, kick out, putting kick out. Main keys, I'll scroll down to where main keys is, and then I'll drop it on main keys left and main keys right. Boom, main keys right. Overhead section, scroll up, overhead left, overhead right. Then we have the preacher's mic. Again, I could put right here, preacher, pastor. Okay, good. This is snare top mic. Then we have a snare top. SPD, I might put it on the percussion section right here. Right here, I put it on percussion. Stems left. Okay, stems right. Okay, tom 1, 2, and 3. We don't have 4 toms here. In this case, I will do toms 1 here. I will actually put it on tom 2. Okay, I'll put tom 2 on tom 3, and I'll put tom 3 on tom 4. That's the floor tom. Okay, so there, because tom 1 in this case of this template, we are using 4 toms, and tom 1 is quite a very high tom. The EQ is kind of like tailored for like a very high tom. Okay, so then we have all these vocals. In this case, we don't know who is the alto, who is the soprano, who is the tenor. So we're kind of just gonna exhaust what we have, and once we figure out who they are later on, we can maybe move them around into another location. So I'm just gonna use what I have available right here. And then we have this one here, but luckily we have vocal 31 here that says lead. So I'll say lead here, and that's it. And we're done with importing our sessions. This is a 32 channel M32 mixer. Yeah, this is actually 30. It's actually 30, so we don't even have 32, but you get the idea. This is just 30 right here. So depending on what you have for yourself. So now that we've imported our you know, we've imported our files, we can start mixing. Now this is where gain staging comes in. All right, so what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to mute everything. I'm going to mute everything because I don't want to start with just hearing a lot of things that is going to bother me. So I put acoustic here. I was wrong. I was supposed to put HiHat here. So let's go back to my folder, and we're going to bring back the HiHat right here. We're going to drop it on the HiHat section. Okay. All right, so let's go back and let's talk about the HiHats. This is where the notes that we have here, and then I'll zoom back, bring my slider back. So we have a note here that says highest audio dB true peak at -13 with all plugins turned off and pre-fader level, or when at unity/0 fader. What does that even mean? So if I turn all these plugins off, the highest true peak that I want to see when my level is at pre-fader, this is pre-fader setting right here. You can turn it off and turn it on. If you go to your mix, you see pre-fader. I like to be in pre-fader. I want to see what is coming in before I move my fader, right? So if I go to post-fader monitoring, if I put my my fader at 0, and let's go here, I can zoom in and say where's the highest volume here from the wave file. Somewhere maybe around here, or around here. This is just a spike in one location, maybe around here as well. So I might come around here and just play this section. So what I'm getting here is what? -4.1. So that is telling me that the highest I want to see, what this is saying is -13 is what we want to see, and this is with my fader at 13. Now you see when I am at post fader, you see we could see -4.1. When I turn this here down now, we're going to see -14 point something, because this is going to mess with this signal right here. Right, you can see that now it's changing to -14. So if I am on pre-fader metering right here, the make section, pre-fader metering, turn it on, it doesn't matter where my fader level is, I will always see what is coming in before my fader is moved, right? So see this again. So you can see what is coming in before the fader moves. This doesn't matter. If I bring this all the way down, I will still be seeing signal, right? I'll still see signal. So now, in this case, this is a -10 from what I remember. I could just put it there. I want to be at -13 before the fader, okay? So if I go here, I was getting -4, -5. If I want to get -13, I want to just bring it down more by like -9, -8-ish, -9, -8. Let's start with this. So I'm already getting at that highest level right there. I'm kind of close enough. You don't have to be surgical with this one, right? Just be close enough, and then turn on all the other plugins. So that's what we mean by -13 with all plugins turned off and pre-fader level, or when at unity/0 fader. So if you turn this all the way off, and you put this at 0, or you leave this where it is, you want to be seeing -13. Now if it is not -13, use the gain plugin that is provided here to bring it down to get you close to where you want to be. Okay, so we're kind of close to -13 now, and we're good to go. Then we go to our kick. Let's go to our kick. I'll mute this now. Let's go to our kick now. This is our kick in. Turn off this. Let's try and look for where is our highest level. This looks consistent, which is good. So I'm kind of honestly just going to look for one section. I might just stay at the same section that I am in right now. Or maybe somewhere here. Just stay around here a little bit, you know, and then we can. Okay, this is the kicking, not bad. What are we getting? We want to get -7. What are we getting? They're getting -22, so we need like 15 dB. It is what it is. Bring it in. Okay, I turn this down. Alright, good for me now at this point. Then I'll turn on all the other plugin right here. Automatically already sounds better. I've not even done anything. Yeah, good to go for me. I can, if I want to tweak this a little bit more, you could tweak this a little bit more. Kind of like find the sweet spots that you're looking for. Let's talk about the kick out. Now, this is the example I was talking about when I said you want to flip phase, you want to check polarity. So let's see what's going on with this kick out. I'll mute this, kick out, turn off all the plugins. What are we getting? This is so low. So I'm staying at the same section with the kicking, right, intentionally, because kick in, kick out, you get the idea. So this is so low. We're getting -35 and we want to be getting -11. So I'll come here, I'll add, you know, almost 20 dB of gain. Even with that, it's not enough, so I'll add a little bit more. So now we're close. If it is so low like this and this gain plugin is not enough for you, maybe you can add a second gain plugin. You could just add another gain plugin right there. But in this particular case, I would just advise you to add gain from your preamp of your mixer, okay? Add gain from the preamp of your mixer, so that your floor, your noise to floor level, it's kind of like very low, because this is quite very low. And then we can now turn on the other plugin here, and you can see we've gone from this to this. So now let's try and listen for the let me turn off the kick smash. Let's now try to listen for, I will turn off this processings. I'm just leaving the gain. Let's listen to the phase right here. Okay, you hear this? Both of them together. If I flip the phase of the kick out, it changes. Let me turn on the processings now. Okay, I'll still leave the kick smash. Okay, gain, phase, no flipping of phase anywhere now. Yeah, they sound together, not so good. With this, it changes the game completely. With this one, it's cancelling each other out, right? They're cancelling each other out. And because the gain here is so low, we really can see what's going on. So if you can see here, if I raise the gain for the purpose of this experiment, you can raise gain here. The only problem with raising gain here is because this is only going to happen if you're doing post processing and post mixing in the studio like this. This is not going to help you on the stage when you're doing live stream mixes. Okay, so that's why I'm using an actual gain plugin in this particular case. But for this, I want to do an example to show you guys what's going on with this. Let's turn off my snap now. I'll put it on smart. Okay, see what's going on here. This is why they are canceling each other out. You see this? One is going up while one is going down. And when the other is going down, when the wave is coming down, this one is going up. With that, you're always going to be getting cancellation. Something is going to be it's just going to be canceling each other out. One is going up, one is going down. What it gives you is a perfect 0, right? This gives you 0. This is also giving you 0 technically, because one is down and one is up. This one is on top of each other, 0. What you want is, you're now flipping this face now to make it look like this. You're flipping it upside down so that they can stay on top of each other. Oh, sorry, now I had this a little too much, so I'm going to bring this back down to 0. So you can see the waveform, you can see what's going on there. So face inverted, check this out, canceling each other out. So always check your face and, you know, be sure that everything is in phase, and then you can move on from there. So now I've given you 2 examples on hi-hat, kick in, kick out, how I just use the comments here, the notes here to gain stage, so I can get closer to how the mix template was kind of like done. And you don't have to be messing around with a lot of faders, and you don't have to be messing around with your compressor level. See, right now we're getting close to the amount of compression that we want. We're not smashing, and we're not hitting the compressor. You get what I'm saying, right? So that's the whole essence of this note right here, to help you to kind of like get the head start on it. So you do the same thing for everything. For the snare right here, turn off all this. Let's see, where is the highest volume? My highest volume looks to be right here. It was smacking something right here. It's very hard. So let's see what we got. So let me come back here. Oh, we wanna mute the kick now, and I'm just gonna stay with only the snare. Okay, I can turn off all the reverbs as well. I just want to hear what this is sounding like right here, this section. Right here, maybe. I'm getting 8.7. I need -8. I think I'm good. I don't really need to add anything really on this one. I can be fine with this, and I will just turn on all of these other plugins right here. Right, and it's already sounding better to me. Then you can tweak, fine tune, move it on from there. So this is already sounding great to me on this particular. If I want to add a little bit more, again, because of this was just only that area where it was smacking. In other locations it's not smacking too hard. I might add a little, maybe like 2 dB more, and then see what's going on. Now when I'm done gain staging and doing all this thing for all of my tracks, and I like how my mix is now sounding like, you know, I'm done with a little more fine tuning as well, because again, this is just a template to get you started. You still need to fine tune a little bit based on what you have for your own scene. Once I'm done with that, what I'm going to now do is I can delete all of this audio track. Okay, so let's say I'm done with all of my gain staging, all of my fine tuning, everything. I will now I'll delete, I'll Control A, Command A, all of this track. I'll delete them, right? Bring my playhead back to original, right? And I'm going to now I'll save a copy. Actually, you know what? Command Z. Let's say you save a copy. Okay, let's say you save this one, the original one you just did, you know, just save as. Find a name for it if you want to find a name for it. Testing template, you know, you could do that. I just saved it. Then I'll delete everything here, and I might do another save as, just in case. Empty template. Okay, and I will show you why I'm doing all of this. Okay, so when I have empty template now, then I'll take empty template. The problem here is that if I check my audio, it's still going to show all of this, right? So I want to remove all of these guys, okay? And then I want to save it, and also make sure I am not having anything, right? So, and then I'll save, so that if I quit, let me save this file. I'm just going to actually save this inside of my Logic folder on my laptop, not on my external drive. Okay, and I will say empty template, save. Okay, then I will close Logic Pro. Okay, let's quit Logic Pro, for example. Now, if I quit Logic Pro now and I eject my SSD that I'm using, if I take it out right now, because that's where the audio files are, and I don't want Logic to be looking for that audio file. So now we're gonna open Logic back again from the one that we saved on our computer, the one in the Logic folder, the original Logic folder. So Logic is just opening up. I'm just gonna give it a second to open up, and when it does, what we're gonna do is now take that empty template that we just did, recent empty template, let me say open existing project. We're going to open the one inside of Logic now. I'm going to share my screen back again. What am I looking for? Okay, so we have my screen here now. Okay, so right here we got Logic back again. It's not giving me any error message or anything like that, which is what we want. And now I'm going to now save this as template. So I'm going to save this as template. Okay, and just say my live stream template, right? And I'm just going to say save. But before we do that, I want to show you something. You need to, if you're using this for live stream, okay, you need to make sure you set your gain stage properly. Gain staging, we've done gain staging. We need to set up our input properly. So connect this to your mixer. If you go to the preferences tab, let me go close this. Go to Logic, preferences, settings, audio, okay. And when you get to the audio, make sure you have your input device set to your maybe mixer, maybe M32, depending on the mixer you're using, and output set to the audio interface that you're going to be using to send your signal out to your live stream people, your video switching people. Okay, so in this case, my input device is my audio interface right here, just for this example, and I'm going to bring this mic over just to show you what I'm talking about. So now let's say my I've done this, I will apply, then I'll close this, and you guys can still hear me, but you're hearing me from this microphone right here. I'll take this microphone away and I'm going to mute that microphone. What I'm going to do is mute this microphone. Now you can hear me. But now you can hear me. So I just muted this microphone because we want to switch to the Logic signal only. Okay, so what I want to do here is inside of my HiHat, for example, I'm just going to say, let's say my HiHat is on input number 3. I'm going to say input 3. Okay, I'll put it in and I'll put input monitoring on. So remember to turn on all of your, now you're hearing me in 2 places, so I'm gonna turn off my microphone. Now you should be hearing me just from Logic. You're hearing me phoning because you're hearing me from this mic. The EQ is rolled off and the mic is quite low because that is from the multi-track, right, that we used to set up the template. Just an example. So I have all of this turned on. I will ham my recording, okay, and so you guys can still hear me, okay. I'm just gonna bring this up all the way up, and then we're gonna go to kick in I'll select my input. Let's say kick in input 1, kick out is input 2, snare top is input 3, maybe snare bottom is input, snare top cannot be 3, it has to now be 4 because I'm always using 3 here. Let's say snare bottom is now 5. Then you do this for all of your channels, and when you're done, turn on the input recording for all of the tracks, right? And the recording as well. Okay, once you do that for all of the channels, right? Once you do that, you now save the channel, save this to sorry, you guys have to bear with me on that funny rolled off terrible EQing, but you get the idea. Once you do this for all the channels, we now save this as template. Okay, we save as template. We now say my live stream template, okay, 2025. Let's just say my live stream 2025. Okay, I've saved as template. So now in future, when we need to do live stream, I can now come here and say open new from, if I open my Logic, let's just say we close this. If I open Logic now, okay, I can open new from template, and I can go to my template right here, my template. I have bunch of different template over the years, but my live stream template 2025, this is what we just saved, and I've just opened this, okay, and boom, it shows up. Once it shows up, you'll be able to start hearing me. I muted this originally, so I'm gonna unmute, so you get the idea. So now with this, you can hear yourself. Now just arm all this if you want to record at the same time when you are live streaming, right? If you want to record at the same time when you're live streaming, you just do this, and then you hit record. And then you start recording all of those channels, and everything will start sounding the way you want them to sound, because you've already done the gain staging and all of the settings that you want. Okay, so this is how you do this, right? Just turn on the input monitoring for all of the channels that you've selected input for, and turn on the arm recording. Be sure that, you know, when you're, just be sure to turn on all of these, right? One of the things we also did here is, if I turn off this terrible EQ in here, so that I can come out from Logic alone, and I'm gonna unmute myself. Just 1 second. Okay, now you should hear me just from one location. Now with this particular one, now we could hear a little bit of latency. You guys can hear some latency. It's not syncing with my mouth. Just it's based off of the all the processing that we have to do, that we've done here. But it's just minor latency. Your video team can compensate for that, and they already have some latency on their end as well. So with 128 buffer size, you should be good. Let me close this. Let me put this at center just so it sounds even better. Okay. So you hear me here. One of the things that we've done here on this Logic template here is, if you look at this right here, the master bus here, I have this solo save on. You can turn it off with control, holding, I believe, control and S here, and click on S, it turns it off, and you can turn it back on again. What it does is, if you're doing live stream, for example, and someone mistakenly press solo on, let's say, sax 1 2, you will still be able to hear me. It will not solo sax, it will not do it. It will still solo pretty much almost everything that is coming to the master bus, so that if one person mistakenly click on the solo anywhere, it will not affect what you're getting. You see, you can still hear me loud and clear. The recording is still going on as if we are in service or something like that. So, but with this solo save off, if someone solos this, so if someone, a volunteer, mistakenly click on this solo, you won't hear anything. I hope that makes sense. So if you're not sure of what's gonna happen, keep the solo safe, keep it on, right? Press control on your keyboard, all right, and then press the S button here at the master, because that's where everything is coming. So if the master is already ensuring that everything that is coming to the master is always going to be on, there is no way someone will solo something here and everything would not be on. It's just a safe way to ensure that the service online doesn't go disrupted because someone mistakenly press the solo. Okay, hope that makes sense. I just wanted to share that so I don't miss that. So with this, now you have your template going on and you're good to go live. This is how you set it up. Hope that makes sense. For those who want to use this like a podcast template or something like that, just use the lead vocal channel. You can duplicate it, right? You just click on this and press this duplicate right here, right? You're just duplicating as many as you want, and then you can turn off all the reverbs, right? Turn off all the reverbs. Okay, I'm gonna take this HiHat out right now. So now you guys should be able to hear me from the lead vocal channel here in this case now. So now if I am using this for podcast and things like that, all I need to do is just, okay, what's my note saying? With all of this turned off, I want to be at -4-ish. So it depends on how your people are speaking, shouting, and things like that. And I can just set my gain, maybe add a little bit more gain here, then turn this on, and see what I'm getting, see how it sounds, see my loudness out here. If I want to add a little more volume, I can add more here. If I'm beginning to, and then you can, move things around as well, change the EQing to suit what you want the best possible way. Just kind of play around with it. If this is too aggressive, you can back down, because this is now vocal speech. You want it to feel close, intimate. I might tweak the EQ a little bit to look like this. But I'm already getting my gain reduction the way I want it. I honestly don't think I need parallel compression on this speech. I want this to sound natural. We're not singing, we're not going to be shouting, yelling, and doing all those kind of things. So I might turn this off. And now that I have this done, and I can now duplicate this for my other speakers and select their own input, maybe input 1, input 2, and things like that. And we can pretty much do podcast live from here. The sounds decent, sounds great. You can pull it up a little bit more if you want to. But as you can see on the master channel right now, this is sounding like close to, up there. It's already up there. So that's how I will use it for like podcast and things like that, So I hope this makes sense. I know this has been a very long video, but I want to make sure that I show you the intricacies of everything. When you're done with your recording, you can pretty much just save it. Just save your recording. Make sure you're saving your audio files. Click on this, please. If you want to save as a folder, if you want to save as a package, name your file, save it to a location wherever you want to save it to, and you should be good to go. In this case, I'm not going to save this. I'm going to close. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm gonna turn on my previous audio microphone, I mean, and you should be good to go. So I'm gonna just close Logic here, and so with this, all right. So guys, man, it's been a long video, almost 1 hour 30 minutes, but I hope this has been super helpful for you to set up your own template the way you want to set it up. Just leave a comment below, share this with a friend, share this with your team looking to upgrade their live stream setup, and they've been looking for a cheap way to do it. My MacBook Air can do this right now with these plugins because they are so CPU efficient. Old laptops can do this. We have this in Logic Pro X and also Logic Pro 11, so you don't have to have the Apple Silicon laptop to be able to use this. You can still use your Intel laptops and you'll be fine, good to go. So hope this has helped you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for purchasing. The link to purchase this actual template is below. My link to other products like my sound patches and my loop pack, it's also below. And if you're looking for a more sophisticated template, I do have this same template set up in Waves. So if you're a Waves user and you're looking for like, oh, I want to have Waves, I want to have more sophistication, I want to have more clarity, more, you know, all of those extra things that Waves, we have the template in Waves. I'm going to put it down in the description as well. Go check them out. Be blessed. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next videos. Cheers. Thank you for the support. Bye bye.